we're back with Hatol ng Bayan. One, you know, if you go to the platforms and go to the message that has been projected by the candidates, 30 seconds, hindi naman sapat yun para sabihin mo na yung kandidato sa pagkapangulo, talagang magagawa niya yung mga sinasabi niya. The very core of what they intend to do for our people, and just reflecting even the black propaganda that is associated with one candidate. Do you think, I mean, is it really working that way?
Well, actually, when we say na powerful and influence ng media, it's not the political ads. Ang mga studies na alam ko dyan, yung mismong media coverage sa'yo. The people really want to know you in your unguarded moments, not your guarded. Political ad is a guarded moment. May choreography yan. The message is really a studied one. Pero pag ginulat kasi sa debate, sa isang show, mas nagre-remain yun sa mind ng tao.
Mas spontaneous, ano po, kaysa sa scripted.
Yeah. Beyond the organized forum, yung mga debate, syempre parang slogans lang yung sa ads eh. Meron bang effort na sincere coming from the party na ipahayag yung plataforma?
Ang problema kasi, I'm not a firm believer in presidential debates. Because we have a multi-party system where you have 9 or 10 candidates. We always frame the concept of presidential debates using the American model. In the US, it ultimately ends up to 2 candidates or at the most 3. So you can have competing positions and they can really question each other.
Yes.
Here you have a multi-party system with 10 candidates, just putting them in the same stage, you know, and asking them questions. You use up all the time with just one sweep of the answers. That's one. The other thing is, even if you do not show up in a presidential candidate, 9 other people will show up. So it's not really a bad thing to miss a debate, you know, unless we cure that problem of having too many candidates. I think presidential debates will not be issue-oriented.
So how did the parties explain the platform to the people? Is there a sincere effort towards that?
It would have been helpful if the big media organizations would organize debates on single issues. The problem with a lot of the debates that have been held is that there are multiple issues being asked. So the candidates get away with motherhood statements, you know, they promise...
Rather than go to specifics.
Rather than go specific. For example, a lot of the candidates promise a lot of things, but they don't explain to the people where they will get the money to fund this. They promise 50,000 salary for health workers, 40,000 salaries for public school teachers.
Magandang pakinggan.
Magandang pakinggan.
Oo,
pero ang tanong, saan manggagaling yung pera? Kasi hindi ganun kasimple yun. Even you multiply 40,000 pesos times 250,000 public school teachers. That's a lot of money. Now, imagine if you give 40,000 pesos to a public school teacher, her salary will be higher than a university professor in UP. My God, the cascading effect of that on the whole bureaucracy is tremendous.
That goes without saying.
Na everybody goes up.
Pero saan kukunin yung pera? They get away with being very fiscally irresponsible candidates.
I agree with Sir De Vera, kasi I agree na na sa totoo lang yung platforms hindi mo yan ma-highlight kasi even sa media at sa perception ng tao, the platforms are just the same. They are going to promise you a good life, better education. Yung specifics doon na nagkakatalo ng konti, pero it's all the same. Now, kaya nga mahalaga nga yung sa media kung paano ipino-project yung perception game pa din bumabalik doon. Anong klaseng tao yung kandidato? So hindi yung plataforma kasi lahat sila ganun ang gustong gawin.
But don't you think there's a failure also of media really to manage how the issues should be presented to our people?
Well, partly I think kasi ang media naman tends to go where the people's interests are.
But more than
yun. That's a ratings game yun.
Yes.
They don't want to portray a boring...
At the same time, is it possible then that meron pong mga media entities na meron talagang sariling manok na nais pong isulong at baka meron bang observation na nakulayan po yung kanilang storya or nasingitan ng ibang mga emosyon?
Observation yung katotohanan everybody accepts that now. Kasi I do not agree that the media cannot be substantive in its debates. They can do it in the United States. Because they have media anchors who are non-partisan, who have built a reputation of being non-partisan. And they have media organizations who are not patently biased against one candidate. And so they could hold a debate where it is really issue-oriented. For example, in the debate between the famous Gore versus George W. Bush debate noon, they were asking, there's a big surplus for the country. Where are you going to put it? And they had to identify where it was going to. Pwede eh. Ang problema, na-compromise yung ibang media organization dito sa Pilipinas. Because they patently supported one candidate.
Yeah,
and a lot of the anchors in many stations are also patently biased.
I'm sure General Espina is not about to give you an answer on that, but just looking at where the military and the PNP would go in terms of who should they vote for, how should you be guided by one particular candidate in choosing that candidate to be the next president of this country without being political about it,
Well, it's just individual preferences lang po talaga natin.
Ano bang hinahanap ng mga kapulisan natin o yung mga sundalo natin sa isang magiging pangulo ng ating bansa?
Actually,
no, but I think,
why
in the military, we want good men serve our country.
It's because we really don't talk about it.
I know who talks about it. It's normally mga retired generals. Just like my dad, they talk about it. Yung mga batchmates nila, yung mga
But how are you guided?
Maybe because our hands are so full with the security preparations where will we get our people to be fielded here?
More logistics ang concern.
What's happening in this place, all the killings, And we're so preoccupied with it that we don't even think about our preferences.
Are you just supposed to follow the orders and not talk about your personal preferences?
Meron po bang order?
No, order in terms of the job, not about the candidate, but in terms of carrying out their mission. That's a totally different story,
Yeah, ang focus lang po talaga namin ay sa security. Nothing else. Really, nothing else. Truthfully. And until now, we've been always asked what happened to the security escorts for the PICOs, for the compact flashcards. And we have a lot to solve, especially that we're being directed by Commission on Elections to do this and do that. We're so preoccupied with it.
But just going back to issues pon, and yung sinabi nga ni Dr. Vera na specific issues, that's so important. And when you talk about the deficit or resources, because everybody's promising so much, pero hindi nila tinutumbok kung saan talaga manggagaling. I mean, don't you think that our candidates are very dishonest about how they present their platform?
Well, maybe it's the other way around. We're not asking the right questions. Kasi itong mga candidate naman, at our mercy yan eh. Pag naupo na yan dyan sa upuan, you can actually ask him kung sino yung mistress niya eh. He would have to answer it. Kasi yung paano sa sumagot, it will impact on the viewers.
Well, you mentioned mistress, kasi even the definition of issues, kasi there are governance issues, but some issues can be black propaganda for one party and legitimate issues forwarded by the other. So has this elections really been described by parang punong-puno ng black propaganda like some parties would claim, or these are legitimate issues?
I call it perception game. That's part of the game. When you call it black propaganda, for me, it's a legitimacy.
So walang black propaganda para sa inyo?
No. It's not really a question. As I've said, it's perception game. Sino sa atin paniniwalaan ng nanonood? Pag ako pinaniwalaan, patay ka. Kasi talo ka. It's not black propaganda.
For example, Reddy, one of the issues that has not been adequately addressed in this campaign is the whole national security peace process issue. It's unfortunate that has not been taken at depth. It is also unfortunate, hindi naman unfortunate. The problem is the military is neutral, so they cannot be the one to ask the questions. And the media organizations have not focused on it. You have the whole question of the MOA AD issue, the negotiations with the MILF, the proposed negotiations with the NDF. They're all hanging there out there because there was no single debate where that was made the issue. And that is important to the people in the law and order community. They're watching and listening for signals, but nobody talked about it. We included it in the platform of the Nacionalista Party, and we asked some retired military experts to help us craft it. But we never had a chance to explain it because there was no forum where that was the topic.
But why do you think, Professor Chua, why was there a failure of the media to really emphasize on the peace and order situation? You've had the insurgency, communist insurgency since 1969. The Muslim rebellion is still a problem in the South. And I think this is one of the major concerns of foreign investors in this country.
Sir Freddie, bebenta ba ang mga storyang yan?
Pero,
Para sa mga tao.
but
Yun
it's
ang
one
importante.
reality that we have to deal with, that this country is not going to move forward unless there must be something that must be done to this problem.
That is why, you know, it's all about business eh. Sa totoo lang, let's be frank about this, ano? It's all about business. Kung titingnan nyo, kapag may mga tinatanong na kandidato sa TV, that's why I have to to congratulate Hatol ng Bayan on your last episode nyo to before the elections, di ba?
Yes.
I have to congratulate you kasi yung 2 hours ninyo, you can give a lot of time for candidates to articulate themselves. Kasi sa mga media organization, sure, you're given what? A 2-minute airtime. Tapos po ganun pa yung mga maliliit na stories. So, ang kailangan talaga siguro, ganito yung tanong eh. Yun ba ang gusto ng masa o yun ba yung pinapakain natin sa masa?
Pero yun eh. I mean, well, pandering to the masses eh.
Exactly.
You need more responsibility in the media to also focus on important issues. Hindi naman pwedeng panay naniniwala o hindi naniniwala ang basihan pagkadebate. You know, this whole thing about pushing whether you believe or not. Media has to be a lot more responsible than doing this
So
kind
you're
of
saying
deals.
media should take the lead, no, Freddie?
Yes.
That's right.
Well, anyway, we'll continue
Lead to the
with
commercial.
Hatol ng Bayan after we pause for these reminders. We'll be back.